Many people remain in situations that no longer make them happy, jobs that drain them, relationships that no longer feel alive, routines that feel emotionally empty, not always because they enjoy those situations, but because starting over feels terrifying. Human beings naturally become attached to familiarity. Even painful routines can begin feeling psychologically safe simply because they are known. The brain prefers certainty. Predictability creates emotional comfort. And when people imagine starting over, the mind immediately sees uncertainty, risk failure, judgment, instability. This is why many individuals stay trapped between two painful choices: continue living a life that no longer feels fulfilling, or face the fear of rebuilding everything again. Starting over often feels emotionally difficult because people become deeply connected to the identities they built over time. A career becomes part of identity. A relationship becomes part of identity. A lifestyle becomes part of identity. And when those things change, people sometimes feel like they are losing pieces of themselves. Modern society intensifies this fear dramatically. People constantly compare their lives to others online. Success appears permanent. Progress appears linear. Everyone seems ahead. As a result, restarting life can feel psychologically humiliating. People fear looking unsuccessful, losing status, disappointing others. Falling behind age also changes the psychology of starting over. When people are young, uncertainty often feels exciting. But as time passes, the pressure grows heavier. Many quietly ask themselves, what if I'm too late? What if I fail? What if I never recover financially? What if I wasted years? And slowly, fear begins replacing possibility. Interestingly, human beings often tolerate unhappiness longer than uncertainty. Because uncertainty forces the brain into unfamiliar territory, the future becomes unclear. And psychologically, unclear futures can feel more threatening than familiar suffering. This is why some people remain emotionally stuck for years. Not because they lack dreams, but because fear convinces them stability is safer than change. Even when that stability slowly damages them emotionally, the fear of starting over appears in many forms. Someone wants to leave a career but fears financial collapse. Someone wants to move somewhere new but fears loneliness. Someone wants to rebuild life after failure but fears judgment. And because these fears happen internally, many people silently struggle while appearing normal externally. Modern culture often glorifies certainty too much. People admire confidence, success, clear direction, but real life is often messy. Most human beings experience periods where they feel lost, uncertain, emotionally confused, especially during major transitions. Yet some of the biggest life transformations begin during moments that initially feel like collapse. A career ending, a relationship ending, a failure, a painful change. At first, these moments feel like destruction, but sometimes they become the beginning of an entirely different life. Perhaps this is why starting over feels emotionally painful. Not only because people fear the future, but because they must let go of the version of life they once imagined. And psychologically, letting go is rarely easy. The unknown forces people to confront something deeply uncomfortable. Control is limited. No person can fully predict outcomes, success, failure, timing, life itself. And for the human mind, uncertainty often feels frightening, but perhaps staying emotionally trapped out of fear creates its own form of suffering too, because over time, many people begin regretting not the risks they took, but the lives they were too afraid to pursue. This does not mean starting over guarantees happiness. Life remains uncertain, but human beings are often more adaptable than fear initially allows them to believe. People rebuild, people heal, people evolve, even after painful endings. Perhaps the deepest truth about starting over is this: the fear is usually strongest before the first step, because once movement begins, uncertainty slowly transforms into experience, and experience slowly rebuilds confidence again. Maybe that is why so many meaningful life changes begin quietly, not with certainty, but with someone finally deciding they can no longer remain where they are emotionally.